The imprisonment of Gellert Grindelwald raises profound questions. Why was he confined in Nurmengard, the fortress he built for his enemies, rather than Azkaban, the notorious wizarding prison? And why did this once formidable dark wizard not attempt to escape? The famous duel between Albus Dumbledore and Grindelwald in 1945 sealed Grindelwald's fate. Dumbledore, the victor, claimed the Elder Wand, while Grindelwald's ambitions crumbled. Yet, what followed remains puzzling. Instead of being sent to Azkaban, Grindelwald was imprisoned in Nurmengard, a place he designed as a symbol of his power. For over 5 decades, Grindelwald remained there until his death at Voldemort's hands in 1998. The decision to incarcerate him in his own fortress raises an intriguing possibility. This was not just a physical punishment, but a psychological one. Imagine the torment of being confined in the very walls you built to suppress others, forced to confront the collapse of your dreams daily. Grindelwald, though, was no ordinary dark wizard. Unlike Voldemort, who pursued power for its own sake, Grindelwald genuinely believed in his vision of the greater good. He sought control not out of malice, but from a warped sense of justice, thinking his rule would ultimately benefit the wizarding world. This belief gave him a complex sense of honor. His imprisonment at Nurmengard, many speculate, was not just a punishment imposed upon him, but a fate he chose to accept. In Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Asterisk, Dumbledore speaks of Grindelwald with a mix of regret and admiration. Reflecting on their shared past, he admits to Harry, Grindelwald saw himself as a revolutionary, a man who could change the world, but he was terribly, terribly wrong. This nuanced portrayal of Grindelwald as a man of ideals rather than pure evil sets him apart from Voldemort. The question remains, why didn't Grindelwald escape? Some argue he couldn't. Nurmengard was heavily fortified, and without his wand, escape might have been impossible. But this explanation seems weak for a wizard of Grindelwald's immense power. If he truly wanted to flee, he likely could have. Instead, it seems he chose not to. Consider this. Grindelwald, defeated by Dumbledore, was likely overcome by the weight of his own actions. For decades, he had pursued a vision that brought destruction and suffering to countless lives. The duel with Dumbledore, his closest friend turned rival, may have been a moment of reckoning. In that moment, Grindelwald understood the magnitude of his mistakes. In Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Asterisk, Voldemort visits Nurmengard to demand the location of the Elder Wand. Grindelwald, now an old man, defiantly refuses to cooperate. He taunts Voldemort, calling him a child for seeking ultimate power through the wand. This final act of defiance reveals a man who has come to terms with his past and refuses to perpetuate the cycle of destruction. Grindelwald's refusal cost him his life, but it also demonstrated a sense of honor that Voldemort could never comprehend. Another theory suggests that Dumbledore himself influenced the choice of Nurmengard. Remembering their past friendship and respecting Grindelwald's abilities, Dumbledore might have requested that the Ministry spare him the horrors of Azkaban. Grindelwald, in turn, might have given his word not to escape, a promise Dumbledore would trust him to keep. Grindelwald's years in Nurmengard were likely filled with self-reflection. Unlike Voldemort, who rejected remorse, Grindelwald seems to have confronted his guilt. The fortress that once symbolized his dominance became a monument to his failure. It's a poignant irony. The walls he built for his enemies became his own prison, and within them he faced the consequences of his actions. In the end, Grindelwald stands apart from Voldemort. Where Voldemort represented pure, self-serving evil, Grindelwald's actions were driven by misguided ideals. His imprisonment and eventual death underscore a tragic arc, a brilliant wizard brought low not just by defeat, but by his own flawed vision. As Dumbledore once said, "Do not pity the dead, Harry. Pity the living, and above all, those who live without love." Grindelwald's story is a haunting reminder of what happens when power is pursued at the cost of compassion.